Close your eyes, let go of the day. Feel the weight of your body sinking gently into the surface beneath you, safe and calm. Tonight, we are not just going to listen to a story. We are going to drift upon the river, a great, winding river of time. Its currents are made of whispers, the whispers of millions of souls who journeyed across oceans and plains, seeking a dream. This is the story of America, not as a country of dates and laws, but as a vast, quiet landscape of shared hopes. Let the sound of my voice be your boat, carrying you gently down this river, back to the very beginning. Just breathe in and out, and let the journey begin. Chapter 1. The First Footprints. An ancient land. Before any ships dotted the horizon, before the clang of steel or the murmur of cities, there was the land. Imagine a continent breathing silently under the sun and stars. For thousands upon thousands of years, it was a world of deep forests, sweeping plains, and towering mountains. Then, a quiet miracle, following herds of ancient beasts. The first people crossed a bridge of land and ice from Siberia, their feet touching the soil of what would one day be called Alaska. They were not conquerors, they were explorers of a profound silence. They spread out like seeds on the wind, south and east, learning the secrets of the earth. They became the Lakota, the Iroquois, the Navajo, hundreds of distinct peoples, each a unique note in the continent's long, slow song. They lived in rhythm with the seasons, their cultures as rich and diverse as the landscapes they called home. For generations, this was their world, a tapestry woven from nature, spirit, and community. Chapter 2. Sails on the horizon, a shore of hope. Then, a new sound carried on the breeze, the creak of timber, the snap of canvas. From across the immense, deep blue of the Atlantic, ships began to appear. They were small, fragile vessels against the might of the ocean, but they were filled with something stronger than wood and nails, hope. Starting in the early 1600s, people began to leave the old world behind. They were Puritans from England, seeking a place to practice their faith freely. Their hearts set on building a city upon a hill. They were Dutch traders, seeing opportunity in the wide, flowing rivers, establishing posts like New Amsterdam, a place humming with the quiet energy of commerce. They were Quakers in Pennsylvania, dreaming of a peaceful society. Most were farmers, their hands finding purpose in the rich, new soil. In this vast, open space, life was hard, but it was also full of promise. Families grew, villages spread, and a new rhythm began to beat on the eastern shores. A rhythm of resilience and quiet determination. Chapter 3. The Unwilling Journey, a Silent Sorrow. But not all journeys to this new land were chosen. There was another current in this river of people, a current born of profound sorrow. From the shores of Africa, hundreds of thousands were taken from their homes, their lives stolen by a brutal trade. Their journey across the Atlantic was not one of hope, but of darkness and despair. They were brought to a land where their labor was demanded, but their humanity was denied. They were not seen as immigrants, but as property, forced to toil under a relentless sun, planting and harvesting crops like tobacco and cotton that brought wealth to others. This was a deep, painful shadow falling across the dream of a new world. And yet, even in the deepest darkness, the human spirit endures. They held on to their music, their stories, their faith, whispers of a life they once knew, carried on the night air, a testament to a strength that could never be truly broken. Chapter 4. The Westward Tie. A melody emerging. As the young nation grew, so did its horizons. The great push westward began. It was a slow, steady tide of people, drawn by the promise of cheap land and a life of one's own making. The Irish, fleeing a devastating famine, arrived with little more than the clothes on their backs. Their hands built the canals and the railroads that stitched the country together, their laughter and sorrows echoing in the new mill towns. Germans came, seeking fertile farmland, their quiet diligence transforming the Midwest into a breadbasket. And from across the Pacific, Chinese immigrants arrived, their incredible entrance carving tunnels through mountains for the transcontinental railroad. People followed patterns, like water finding its way. A letter from a cousin, a friend who had gone before, was enough to spark a journey. A village in Ireland might empty out and reform in a neighborhood in Boston. It was a chain of trust, of human connection, linking the old world to the new, one person at a time. The nation was becoming a symphony of different accents, different foods, different dreams, all slowly learning to play in harmony. Chapter 5. The Great Wave, the Gateway of Dreams. Then, the river became a flood. After 1880, great steam-powered ships, faster and larger than ever before, began to cross the oceans. The journey became more accessible, and the world seemed to shrink. Millions upon millions of new faces turned towards America. They came from southern and eastern Europe. Italians, Poles, Greeks, Jews fleeing persecution, Swedes, and Syrians. They passed through the great halls of Ellis Island in New York, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and wonder, searching the skyline for the promise of a new life. One immigrant remembered the feeling, saying, "I have gone into a free land. I don't think I ever can explain that feeling." They were young, most under 30, filled with an energy that America's booming industries desperately needed. They filled the steel mills, the coal mines, the garment factories of the growing cities. The nation's pulse quickened, its urban heart beating stronger and faster. Fueled by this incredible influx of human spirit and ambition. Chapter 6. The Closing and Reopening of Doors. But as the cities grew crowded, whispers of fear began to circulate. The river of people, once welcomed, now seemed overwhelming to some. In the 1920s, for the first time, the nation decided to build a dam. Laws were passed, creating quotas, slowing the flow of immigration to a trickle. The great wave receded. For decades, the doors were only partially open, allowing in refugees from the storms of war and revolution, Jews escaping the nightmare of the Holocaust, Cubans fleeing a new regime. The nation's relationship with its southern neighbor, Mexico, became a complex dance of need and restriction. Workers were invited in to help with harvests, then pushed back in painful sweeps that tore families apart. It was a time of confusion, a time when the nation seemed to be struggling with its own identity, questioning who belonged and who did not. The river of time flowed on, carrying with it these moments of heartbreak and uncertainty. Chapter 7. The Modern Tapestry, an Unfinished Story. Then, in 1965, a profound shift occurred. The old, restrictive quota system was swept away. The doors opened wide once more, but this time to the entire world. The river of immigration began to flow strongly again, but its sources were new. The faces of the newcomers were now predominantly from Latin America and Asia. The nation's tapestry, already so colorful, began to be woven with even more vibrant threads. This is the era we are still living in, a time of great diversity, where almost 1 in 7 people in America was born somewhere else. The conversation continues, a complex, sometimes difficult, but always vital dialogue about borders, belonging, and the definition of the American dream. Millions still live in the shadows, their stories part of this ongoing journey. The river flows on, ever changing, ever deepening, a testament to the enduring human desire for a better life. Conclusion. Drifting to sleep. And so, the river flows on, into the vast ocean of the future. Feel yourself drifting with it, carried by the gentle current of all these stories, all these lives, each one a whisper, joining a chorus that has been singing for centuries. You are a part of this great human stream. Now, let the stories fade into the background like soft, distant music. Let your thoughts dissolve like ripples on the water. There is nothing left to do but rest. Breathe deeply. You are safe. You are peaceful. Allow yourself to float into a deep, restorative sleep, drifting, dreaming, until a new day dawns.